Welcome folks back to the Broken Sword playthrough. The last time I was on this delightful little game, we travelled to Ireland and we came back triumphantly after battling goats and evading the killer. We came back with the diamond, which you can't see on this map menu. But you guys obviously saw the last level. And now I think it's time, after having a short talk to the lovely Nicole in the end of the last video, it's time to go to the museum again and see if the expert, the so-called expert of the Templars, can shed any light on their history that might be important to us, or at least of some kind of use. Yep, and that blonde-haired guy there huddled over the artifacts.
He was a thin-faced, pallid guy with a questionable taste in outlandish clothes. My mother used to dress like that.
So it seems that George isn't very keen on this guy.
Pardon me?
Even on first glance.
Oui, monsieur?
Oh, you get out the way. Really don't want to talk to you.
Forget it.
Go on, move along. Come on, move along, buddy. There we go, this is the guy I want to speak to.
I beg your pardon. Are you André Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No, I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobart. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay, shoot.
Alright, so we're here. Let's talk to him about this.
I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, there are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much, only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
There you go. So it seems like we've got his interest anyway, at least.
The manuscript is being looked after by a friend.
In Paris?
Yeah. Not far from here, in fact.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and take a look.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. Maybe it was my imagination, but I noticed a predatory look in his eye. Suddenly, this friendly historian had turned into the big bad wolf.
Maybe it's that, and maybe it's George there being a little bit protective of his new friend, shall we say?
This friend who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
Ah, I know it well. I'll drop by just as soon as I can.
I don't know the way he said that either.
Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez.
Seems to really like his Templars anyway.
How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, André.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
Yeah, just stop going as Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to their ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Yeah, I doubt the power was actually for the people who were doing the fighting.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Oh, if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
No, they've not always been known as the good guys anyway. Least of all according to Assassin's Creed.
What can you tell me about Philippe le Bel?
He was responsible for the extermination of the Knights Templar.
I know that, but why was Philip so hot to get rid of them?
To get his hands on the
Mostly
money.
because he wanted to get his hands on their treasure. He had an enormous debt and a lifelong war with England to fund. The trouble was the Templars were a highly respected holy order.
Did I just make up some stuff about them?
If the Templars were so powerful, how did this Philippe dude wipe them out?
By underhanded, dishonorable means, of course. The Pope was Clement V, a Frenchman.
French, huh? Handy for Philippe.
Fate had nothing to do with it. He was Philippe's puppet, planted to further his political ambitions. Philippe wanted the wealth of the Templars and used Clement to get it.
So what was Philippe's plan? What happened?
Sealed orders were sent out all over France, not to be opened until the appointed day. That day was Friday, July 13th. That's the origin of our superstition regarding that date. At dawn, throughout the whole of France, the Templars were arrested. It was the biggest bust in the history of the world.
And lucky day to be a Templar anyway.
What happened to the Templars after their arrest?
Philippe was out for blood, so he handed the Templars over to the Inquisition. Not surprisingly, they confessed to a sensational and sordid list of blasphemies.
Like what?
Oh, the sort of things you read about in the gutter press. Devil worship, lewd sexual practices, spitting on the Holy Cross, that kind of thing.
Well, that must have given their lawyers some headaches.
Whether or not the accusations were true, this was not good publicity. Most of the charges were probably cooked up, but so were the Templars, literally. Hundreds of them were found guilty of heresy and flame-grilled at the stake. They died protesting their innocence.
There you go, the bad side of religion.
But surely Philippe had no proof of his charges against the Templars.
A man will admit anything under torture. The Inquisition fabricated some nonsensical demon called Baphomet, and then suggested to their victims that this was what they worshipped.
But they didn't have to agree.
The records show a Templar coming to trial with both feet burnt off. Fragments of flesh and charred bone falling from the stumps. What would you not admit to stop such torment?
So there was no truth at all in the Baphomet accusations?
Not a shred. Almost every victim described the idol differently. No, Baphomet never existed outside the sick minds of the Inquisitors.
Sheesh, there you go, history run not a very good place to live. Well, let's see what else he knows anyway.
So Philippe stole the Templars' riches, huh?
Oh no, they weren't stupid. The king's troops marched first on the temple in Paris then to the Templar home port at La Rochelle. There was no trace of the treasure, and the fleet of the Knights Templar had set sail.
There you go. So maybe they weren't stupid. Obviously, to get that sort of wealth and power, you know, you can't be chumps. Anywho, we've got... Ooh, sorry about that. That's for having Pepsi before you go and do a video. We've got one more thing to ask him, which is about that hanging picture that we saw.
Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure, it was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived.
Yes, it's all coming together. This guy knows who Pegram were. Well, obviously, if he's a Templar enthusiast, he'd maybe know. Let's see what he knows anyway about this dig.
Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
The second week of July?
Maybe. Yes, it was, just before Bastille Day.
So Pegram was in Paris at the same time as the other victims.
Pardon? Victims of what?
Nothing. Just thinking aloud.
There you go, so it's all coming together. A lot of these people that we've come into contact with all seem to be around the same time as the other murder victims. So we're getting some more pieces of the puzzle, and we may have a new location here.
Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
I think that's all we need to ask him, but just for comedy we might as well see what he thinks about the items. Put a little white relief onto all that death and hangings and burnings and things like that. We'll try and lighten the mood a little bit.
Take a look at this nose, Labinot.
It really doesn't interest me, Georgie.
Not a fan of clowns.
Does the guy in this photograph look familiar to you?
No.
What do you make of this?
It's the biggest gemstone I've ever seen. Where did you get it?
From Professor Pegram's messenger boy.
Did Pegram find this on his dig?
Yeah, the site where this was found was a Templar castle. Do you think it could be part of the Templar treasure?
No, I shouldn't think so.
But it doesn't give any reasons why.
What do you make of this ID card?
Nothing.
Well, none of these
What
he's
do you
given any
make of
comedy
this
answers to.
tool?
Interesting. Where did you get it?
From a dig in Paris.
Vraiment? I didn't realize there were any excavations in progress in the city.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Alamut is the name of the place where the Hashashin were based.
Where is it?
Somewhere in what used to be called Persia. I'm not too hot on modern geography, I'm afraid. The most recent map I have shows America as an English colony.
So the Hashashin was the name where assassins comes from, which is in Persia, which was meant to be something about used to smoke lots of pot and then go murder people, basically.
Do you recognize this white powder, Andre?
No,
I'd like to shake you by the hand, Andre.
not now, Georgie.
I'd like to shock him just for keep calling us that.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing.
Well, that's it for now in here.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
And there's nothing more of interest, I don't think. to learn from this guy. But he's given us another location, which is what we'll be following up on. And I think we have got time just to go on that, pop over there and do that. Feels good to be getting back into this game. I didn't want to leave it too long before I made another video. It's been a couple of days. I managed to get a bit of a backlog going so that I could keep posting them daily. But it's quite hard with having a little girl and stuff like that, and then having to do stuff with the missus, and it's finding time. So this is Montfaucon. And we've got a few things. We've got a grate. We've got an elderly gentleman.
I once read a list of low-stress jobs. It didn't include police work. Obviously, this guy hadn't read the same list.
It looks like, so, yep, I was right. I'm going to say either a policeman or a traffic warden. One of the two. But obviously it's a policeman. We've got a fountain here, which I don't think
fountain stood in one corner of the square. I'd have to come by here in the summer to see it working.
There'd be nothing to do with that, I don't think.
Fixed to the wall was a sign in 3 languages. In French, English, and German it read, "In 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the knightly order of the Templars and excommunicated its members on charges of heresy. In the following 2 years, many of the knights were hanged on this site. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at the stake on an island in the Seine."
Excommunicate is one word to say for it. Brutally murdered would be another one.
In the middle of the square was a manhole. I wondered if there might be something relevant beneath street level.
But I'm guessing it's going to be quite frowned upon to start opening a manhole cover there by the policeman. So I'm gathering that's going to be part of the problem of this level. I don't know what to talk to him just yet. I'll just test this theory out because I think he'll stop us doing this.
Hey you! What do you think you are doing? Leave that cover alone, now.
It sounds very threatening for a policeman.
No harm intended.
You stay away from that.
He sounds half cut as well. It must be whiskey or rum or something. Or brandy. Probably brandy, being France. He's probably drinking brandy. So he's getting half cut off that. I think we can go up there as well. That's to the church. I think it's a church. But we'll go and talk to this dude. See if we've got aught to do with him yet.
Excuse me, officer.
And how may I help you?
Yep, he's half cut. Brilliant.
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
I'm going to say, you gotta love that guy's sense of duty and pride in his job. Let's see if he knows anything about the Templars.
The Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
I was going to say that. That just sounds suspiciously like what was on that board.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Aha! A prosthetic nose. Very significant.
It is?
No, I am just having a little joke.
Very funny. Probably about as red as your nose.
Have you seen this man before?
No, who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh,
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
Look at this gem.
I need to take
What do you
that
think?
on.
Cut glass.
No, it's not. It's for real.
What kind of madman would go around waving a priceless gem under people's noses?
So either it's glass or I'm mad? I didn't like to think about that for too long.
That's the kind of man George is. He ain't afraid of waving a priceless artifact around in
Take a look at
public.
this.
Ah, an electrician. My TV has been acting up. Could you fix it?
I doubt it. This isn't my ID. Do you know what this is?
It's a sewer key.
Does it mean anything to you?
Do
Bang,
you
that's
belong
5
to
now.
some obscure arm of the Masons?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The pattern looks Middle Eastern. Beyond that, who knows?
Do you know what this is?
Aha! You Americans with your notorious nose candy. I read Hollywood Wives. I know all about it.
If you tried to sniff this stuff, you'd wall up your nostrils. It's plaster of Paris.
It is. Thank heavens. For one awful moment, I thought I might actually have to arrest somebody. Alors, the paperwork. You have no idea.
There you go, he's not the only person who thought out like something else.
Would you like to shake? I stopped myself barely in time. Electrocuting a cop would not have been smart. They'd rebuild the Bastille just so they could throw me in and throw away the key.
Yep.
What do you make of this grease paint stained tissue?
Delightful. Would you like to see some of my used tissues?
Hell no.
Then please put yours away.
Very well said there. Point made, I'm going to leave you alone.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Be there? Why does it say here then? Right, so there's no way.
An architectural echo of the gallows that once used to stand here.
So there must be some kind of a way later on to get rid of that bozo, but maybe they're just forcing you to go to the castle first. I don't know, but that'll be our next protocol. But I think that'll be all for this video, because I think I've hit about 30 minutes-ish. I don't want to make the videos overly long. So next time out, we're going to be checking out this delightful French church. Anyway, I've been Toasty Fresh, and it's been a pleasure, and I will see you guys next time.